After her lips accidentally brushed against her colleague's hair, this woman was stunned to see a vision of the future. In it, she saw her colleague, having forgotten her umbrella, running from the rain and then slipping embarrassingly in the company lobby. Anxious and curious, the woman hurried to the lobby to see if the vision would come true. To her dismay, every detail happened just as she had foreseen. This confirmed her bitter disappointment that her cursed power was still active. Since she was a child, she has possessed the ability to see a person's future by kissing any part of their body. The tragic futures she witnessed, from her family's deaths to her boyfriend coming out, have forced her into a life of isolation, too fearful to ever fall in love. But fate played a cruel trick on her. She had just seen a vision of herself not long from now, stripping off clothes and doing steamy things with her creepy and twisted boss. And all of this started from a strange accident just a few days earlier. Our female lead, Xiai, works at an advertising company, and her supernatural ability has never brought her any benefits. She decided long ago to hide it and pretend to be a regular person, working overtime endlessly like most in the advertising world, proper in front of others, secretly crying like a sad puppy behind closed doors. He is both her boss and mentor, and they've known each other for 5 whole years. Zhao Yi never imagined that there could be anything more between them. Every time he led a meeting, he'd tear everyone's proposals to shreds like a jet-powered trash can. To survive him, Xiai would prepare multiple drafts, starting with the bad ones, so the good ones would seem better, using her little tricks to dodge his criticism. Still, working overtime had become her daily life. The company anticipated this hard grind and even provided employees with showers. Xiai often treated the office like her second home, showering and sleeping there more than at her real house. It eventually took a toll. She began suffering from overwork-related symptoms and started bleeding from the nose right in the middle of reporting to him. Though he was known as a cold-blooded workaholic, he always acted strangely different when it came to Xiao Yi. One day, after the company secured a major project, he didn't drag everyone to grind harder or return to the office for more work. Instead, he personally took Xiao Yi to the hospital. Interestingly, he took her to the exact hospital she often visited. When Dr. Laui was checking her, Xiao Yi was still busy replying to work messages, irritating him so much he nearly pushed her straight into the morgue. She was suffering from chronic insomnia and extreme mental exhaustion, surviving only on energy drinks and behaving like someone constantly looking for a midnight bathroom in a haunted house. Laui showed a level of concern that went beyond their usual doctor-patient relationship and emotionally blurted out that if she didn't rest properly, that boy would call him again, then immediately realized he had let something slip and nervously changed the subject. Xiai promised not to drink any more stimulants, but broke that promise the very next second by slamming down another bottle back at the office. Seeing her still oblivious to the consequences, he advised her to quit the upcoming sensual product shoot, but stubborn Xiai refused. She tried to pull him aside to continue the discussion, but accidentally lost her balance and fell hard to the ground. Embarrassed but determined, she quickly struck a graceful pose, pretending she was just testing model positions for the ad shoot. After all the running and tumbling, she still ended up in charge of the project. She and her colleague Azang headed out to the outdoor shooting location, and as soon as he was out of sight, Xiai vented all her frustrations about her cold-blooded boss, blaming him for her ruined sleep schedule and mental state. Azang agreed that the advertising world was tough for everyone, and while hard work didn't always bring rewards, Xiao Yi kept biting her tongue in the company. Jokingly, Azang warned her to be careful or she'd be brainwashed by him one day. Seeing how Xiai had zero interest in men, Azang was a little annoyed and twisted his tongue before asking how long it had been since her tongue fought with a man's. Before she could answer, he leapt onto the bed that would be used in the shoot and reminded her that she should have more romantic experiences here, not just work, and shift her focus back to living. But Xiai had no interest. In every future she'd seen, her boyfriends cheated. She still believed working hard and climbing the ladder by herself was the safest path. After finalizing the shoot location, Xiai went to meet Yingzi, the high-maintenance celebrity hired as the ads model. Though Yingzi had a tough temper, Xiao Yi and he were seasoned veterans, and their thorough preparation left Yingzi impressed and satisfied. But something made Xiao Yi uneasy. Yingzi unexpectedly asked why he didn't come, hinting at an unusual closeness with him. Just before they parted ways, Yingzi touched Xiai's lips, fascinated by her lipstick, and Xiao Yi immediately had a vision of Yingzi smoothly participating in the shoot, which eased her nerves. To keep things running smoothly, Xiao Yi even went out and bought a brand new lipstick of her own to gift her. But when she returned to deliver it, she caught him and Yingzi in what looked like a pre-kiss moment. Panicked, she shoved the lipstick into Yingzi's hands and ran, only to have him chase her down. Trying to laugh it off, Xiai said there was no need to explain, that she totally understood why an older single man like him would crave some affection. But he cornered her against the wall and said, "That tiny brain of yours is overthinking again. You've got it all wrong." And in just those few moments, Xiai's heart started racing and her body heated up unexpectedly. That night, one accident after another unfolded as the team handling the set decorations. The set decorator, Dog G, slacked off, and just to avoid waking up early the next morning, he moved the bed outdoors and ran off to drink and party. When Xiai questioned him, Dog G dismissed her completely, relying on the fact that they weren't in the same department and that he ranked higher than her. Frustrated, Xiai went home where her roommate Mei Mei complained that Xiai's constant overtime kept her from spending any time with her, and she muttered that she didn't have much time left, clearly hinting that Xiai had used her ability to see an ominous future for Mei. Xiai's power had once thrown Mei to rock bottom, but then lifted her up again, and a little pocket money was enough to make Mei burst into a smile. After settling Mei, Xiai couldn't bring herself to feel happy. Instead, she felt a growing unease. Her sixth sense was always right, just like her visions. And sure enough, it wasn't long before she got a call from him. It was pouring at the shoot location, and the props Dog G had left outside were in trouble. Poor Xiao Yi rushed through the rain in the dead of night to rescue the chute. While helping him carry the props, she tripped over something and fell, her lips landing right on his. And in that instant, Xiai saw something shocking in his future. Herself, alone, man and woman, sparks flying. And what followed was a scene far beyond her comfort zone. Her stunned expression made him misunderstand, thinking she was just reacting to the accidental kiss. But the truth was, Xiai had just seen herself and him doing something so intimate it made her skin crawl. From that night till morning, Xiai felt like she was going insane. She had never once imagined being involved romantically with her stern male boss, yet fate seemed determined to push them together. The more she thought about it, the more frightened she became, so she decided to confront him. But she walked in on him changing clothes and was stunned to find his back smooth and unblemished. Yet in the future, she had seen there had been a scar. Determined to confirm the truth, she tried to get a better look, causing him to back away like a terrified turtle about to be stripped of his dignity. In the end, he had to pull rank to chase away this seemingly lustful female apprentice. During the next few days of the shoot, problems kept popping up, but thanks to him, everything was handled smoothly and the shoot was successfully completed. On the ride back, he took some mysterious medicine, and that night, he slept poorly, clearly showing signs of physical strain. Then, an unfamiliar and slightly cruel side of him emerged. Unable to sleep because of noisy street racers, he managed to identify each bike's license plate from afar and reported them all. That's when Yingzi suddenly showed up. After interacting with him before and after the shoot, she realized something was off with him. She had known for a long time and knew he always became like this after kissing someone. So she barged in demanding answers, asking if he had secretly drunk water with someone else. He struggled to send away this woman who clearly had a one-sided crush on him. But back home, his mind kept flashing with images of that female subordinate. The next day, Xiao ran into a tough spot during a client meeting, and he swooped in to help like a bossy savior. When company higher-ups questioned Xiao's capability and wanted to remove her from a core project, it was he who secretly fought for her behind the scenes. After Xiao got into an argument with Dog G, he dismissed Xiao first and then turned into a protective beast, fiercely scolding Dog G on her behalf. Later, Xiao's pop-up store project for the client launched successfully, and he even gave her rare praise. During their chat, he revealed that he had long known about Xiao's trick of showing bad proposals first to make her good ones look better. He advised her to use the energy spent on the bad ideas to make the good ones even better. After he left, Xiao couldn't help but smile, a rare sight, while he secretly threw away the substitute drink she always clung to. Soon came the grand opening day of the pop-up store. Everything was going well until a homeless man caused a scene, and while the staff tried to remove him, they accidentally damaged a structure. He stepped in to shield Xiao and was hurt by the falling frame. They rushed to the hospital, and that's when Xiao saw it, a scar on his back. Her eyes widened. The future she had once seen, the one too hot to handle, was drawing closer. He was in bad shape, and by the time Xiao got him home, he had already lost consciousness. She struggled to carry him to his bed and realized the setting matched the scene from her vision exactly. She decided that since he was unconscious, she would kiss him and see the future once more to understand it clearly. But just as her flaming red lips were about to touch his, he suddenly woke up. Last time, Xiao had come up with a ridiculous idea to kiss him while he was passed out and confirm that vision of the future. She mentally prepared herself for a long time, and finally leaned in, but just as her lips were about to touch him, he woke up. One sentence from him, "What are you trying to do to me?" was enough to send Xiao into panic mode. Thankfully, she was quick-witted and lied that she just wanted to check his muscle cramps. But before he could question why her lips were involved in that checkup, Xiao grabbed her bag and ran away like her life depended on it, terrified he'd chase her down and tie her up right there. She fled to a bar and poured out the whole story to her sister. Convinced that he had seen her puckering up, her sister comforted her, saying, "There's no point stressing over it. Why not just let that future play out naturally? If he was really that irresistible, it might be over before she knew it." Though her sister was pushing her to embrace the future, it wasn't just for gossip's sake. There was a deeper story behind it. In the past, Xiao had done something similar. She kissed the same person twice to see a clearer future and ended up facing terrible consequences. Back at home, her sister saw that Xiao was still moping and continued nudging her to go ahead and do what adults do with him. If she really didn't like him, then after one night, they could just walk away from each other. They were adults after all. It wasn't like one night had to turn into love. Her sister said it so casually, but Xiao was in absolute despair. She turned her hairdryer to the highest setting as if hoping to blow away all the crazy thoughts swarming in her head. The next day, as if fate was mocking her, she ended up sharing an elevator ride to work with him again. Xiao, nervous as ever, forced herself to talk, trying to make conversation, but he didn't play along. The moment he suddenly threw a topic at Xiao during the elevator ride, Xiao's whole body tensed up as if she were suddenly back at work being tested by her demanding boss. But she responded without missing a beat, earning a rare compliment from him. Unfortunately, others didn't look at Xiao so kindly. Lately, she had been rising fast, riding on his coattails, achieving dazzling results that made many veteran middle managers feel irritated and jealous. Convinced that it was only a matter of time before they caused trouble for Xiao. This was classic insecure rage from people envious of others' success. But Xiao kept receiving one good piece of news after another, especially with the furniture commercial she had taken over recently, which turned out to be a huge success. Thanks to his brilliant suggestions, the client was overjoyed and promised to send them loads of high-end furniture. That very night, Xiao pulled her team together for a celebratory dinner, and everyone marveled at how working with her meant good rewards, saying that in office life, aside from capability, choosing the right leader was also essential. As they discussed how the project's success had boosted their reputation and how he had recently saved Xiao like a hero, Xiao casually added a few comments, but her gossip-hungry coworkers filtered out all the important parts and clung on to one sentence. Xiao sent him home. Shocked and curious, they all pressed her, asking what happened after he passed out. Xiao panicked, trying to clarify, saying, "It's not what you think. He was unconscious. What else could I do?" But their teasing continued. Then what? What happened after that? Until Xiao nearly broke down, yelling, "It was just unconsciousness. Not that kind of unconsciousness. Can you all please stop overthinking it?" Meanwhile, while Xiao and her gang were going crazy with gossip and frustration, he was also at a dinner gathering with several senior company managers. Ever since Xiao started getting his help, she had skyrocketed, drawing admiration and jealousy from everyone. Many of them were hoping to shine by grabbing a spot on the next big project, but his presence was too powerful. Whether in their own company or on the client's side, one word from him was worth more than 100 from anyone else. This sharp-tongued boss secretly shielded Xiao from the shadows, yet every time he faced Xiao, he'd hide his true intentions and act cold. Instead of handing the next project to Xiao directly, he announced an internal proposal competition to determine the team lead. Everyone was eager to try. The new project was for a well-known car brand, and if handled well, it would be a major boost to any resume, even outside the industry. Just as Xiao was getting ready to give it her all for the proposal, he called her back to help with wrapping up the previous pop-up store event. While cleaning up, one of the construction crew members who often worked with the company told Xiao that he had come the night before the event to check and patch up any last-minute issues, clearly putting a lot of effort into helping her. While Xiao was arranging plants, he smoothly took the heavy box from her arms. This sudden gesture of kindness made Xiao's heart flutter with disbelief. After the final cleanup, Xiao stood in the now empty site, deeply moved. This was the first time she had taken the lead as project manager on a major campaign. The harder the work, the stronger the sense of achievement. She decided to take some beautiful selfies to mark the moment, but to her surprise, he suddenly appeared in the background. In Xiao's eyes, he was almost like a split personality. One moment gentle and helpful, the next moment a ruthless critic. With a few sharp words, he pointed out several shortcomings in Xiao's setup. This back-and-forth mood swing made Xiao want to sign up for boxing lessons. Next time he started nagging, she'd drag him him into the ring and battle it out. On the ride home in his car, Xiao was suddenly distracted by a massive screen outside the building. A man who had once left a deep impression on her, Lai, appeared on screen. He noticed Xiao's strange expression and turned his head, curious about the connection between Xiao and this rising director. At that moment, the cinema was playing Lai's Zodiac, where the male lead, Ashu, was a director who developed feelings for a woman who often worked late. After they kissed, she suddenly cried, then kissed him secretly and later broke up with him. She never explained the reason clearly, only repeating, "Don't ask. Even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. What I saw can't be changed anymore." Ashu drowned his sorrow in alcohol and spent his life longing for her. When the film ended, Lee was interviewed by reporters who asked about Ashu's performance and Lai's script direction. He revealed that the female lead's lines in the movie were actually said by someone in real life, shocking the audience. From the clues so far, it seemed very likely that Lee was Xiao's ex. After Xiao foresaw something in their future, they had broken up. Deeply affected, Lee used their story as the basis for his movie. That night, without resting, Xiao jumped into the fierce competition for the new project. While researching, a sudden power outage struck the company. As she groped through the darkness, she bumped into someone. Startled, that person instinctively covered Xiao's mouth to stop her from screaming. The moment their lips touched, Xiao saw a future where this man gave her a ring. It turned out that person was none other than the cold male boss, him. When the lights came back, Xiao stared silently, thinking to herself, "What is it about me he even likes? If I change, will he stop?" After that, Xiao completely lost the heart to work. On a rare day off, she went shopping at a department store with her female colleagues, preparing for the company's upcoming 30th anniversary celebration. Everyone was excited, trying to find the perfect outfit to dazzle, but Xiao was stunned when she saw him at the counter. Her heart skipped a beat. Terrified he was buying a ring. In a blink, the anniversary event arrived. Xiao wore a red gown, the same one she had seen herself wearing in that vision where he pulled out a ring. Life had already worn her down, and she no longer had the strength to resist fate. She just wanted to see what would happen. Meanwhile, unlike Xiao, Mei was fighting against destiny. She often said she didn't have much time left and wanted to enjoy life while she could. She had just met a boy named Xiao at a bar, but before they could talk for long, Loi, the doctor who had treated Xiao, suddenly stormed into the bar to drag Xiao away. It wasn't clear what kind of relationship those two had, but as soon as Xiao saw Lai, he bolted. Mei, ever the clever and quirky one, ever the chaos lover, had just been chatting happily with Xiao but turned around the next moment to help Lai catch him. Unfortunately, they checked several bars but found nothing, and just as Lai was about to give up, Mei quickly stopped him, saying that she had put in plenty of effort too, so he should treat her to a drink. From the look on her face, this little troublemaker seemed to have developed a crush on this older uncle-type doctor. Soon after, Xiao received a spicy text from Mei that basically said, "I'm not coming home tonight." Xiao, used to her carefree, live-in-the-moment style, didn't pry. She had her own mess to deal with. Eventually, the long-awaited proposal came, but it turned out that director Lee had been hired by Xiao's company to direct the new car ad project. He intended to use this chance to win back his love, but Xiao rejected him flatly, not giving him even a sliver of hope. The story then cut to a flashback showing how Lee used to ignore Xiao's calls because of work, followed by a scene echoing the one in Lee's movie where the female lead tells Ashu they should break up. It was clear now Lee had turned their story into a film. After the flashback, a dazed Xiao wandered across the street and was nearly in an accident, saved at the last second by a sharp-eyed him. When he scolded Xiao for being careless, she suddenly broke down crying, saying she was hungry and begging him to treat her to a tearful meal. Both exasperated and amused, he gave in. Xiao had left in such a rush earlier that she hadn't brought anything with her, and after the emotional roller coaster of the day, she was hungry, tired, and desperate, thick-skinned enough now to ask him to feed her. Seeing her like this, he felt uneasy. A few years back, when Xiao went through another breakup, she'd also been in this broken state, crying and declaring that she'd never fall in love again. Back then, he had tried to console her but got shut down cold. He was afraid of history repeating itself, so he followed her closely the entire night. As expected, Xiao drank too much again. On the ride home, drunk and teary, Xiao spilled everything about her ability to see the future through physical contact. She confessed that she wanted to trust him again to confirm whether or not they truly ended up in bed together. He stared at her seriously and said, "I've never heard a more unreasonable request." But then, in a dramatic gesture, he gave her an overwhelming kiss, showing her all the possibilities of their future together, across this life, the next life, and 3 lifetimes beyond. The story opens with Xiao jolting awake in a hotel bed. fragments of last night's drunken kiss with him flashing through her mind. Embarrassed and panicked, she was about to sneak out when she bumped right into him, returning with shopping bags. Calm as ever, he told her to change into work clothes. He clearly hadn't taken the kiss too seriously. The only thing he seemed curious about was what Xiao had seen after their kiss. It looked like he half believed her claim about seeing the future. Xiao tried hard to remember, but simply couldn't recall what she'd seen. And just then, something even more awkward happened. She ran into her ex-boyfriend in the elevator. Given that she had left the hotel early in the morning, it all looked highly suspicious. The elevator air turned tense. Meanwhile, Yingzi was dealing with her own kind of suffocation. While shopping, she found out that the limited edition coat she had been eyeing was bought by him. He hadn't just bought a coat, he bought a full outfit, and the high heels weren't even in Yingzi's size, meaning they were meant for someone else. Xiao realized then that Yingzi had deep feelings for him, and hearing all this made her face darken. Had she known Yingzi was this obsessed, she might have stayed far away from him. Now fearing that he would think her talk about seeing the future was crazy, Xiao secretly asked him to wait after work so she could prove it to him. After she left, he remained puzzled. Ever since they kissed, a long-standing symptom of his had mysteriously disappeared. That night, once everyone else had gone home, Xiao began her demonstration. She kissed the back of his hand several times and described a vision. Loi would get a nosebleed inside his room. Xiao and he would be together in a dusty place, maybe on a trip or a shoot, and finally, she saw herself almost falling with him breaking his phone while trying to save her. Having said it all, she ran away, leaving him to wait and see each prediction come true. Around the same time, Lai approached Xiao. Back then, after she saw a bleak future between them, she had hastily broken up and accidentally smashed his expensive camera. Now, he wanted 3 dates as repayment instead of money. It was clear he just wanted to get back together. Xiao clenched her fists, hesitating. Meanwhile, Mei and Lai had entered the honeymoon phase, but Mei had made it clear the relationship would only last a week. In that week, they lived like a lifetime, matching outfits, hotel stays, intimacy. But after their first experience, Lai felt humiliated because he failed to perform. Determined to prove himself, he wanted more tries. But the one-week couple agreement was already nearing its end. That night, Lai and Yingzi went to his place to drink. Heartbroken, Lai wanted to crash in his bed, but he firmly rejected him. Just then, one of Xiao's prophecies came true. Lai hit his nose and started bleeding. Yingzi, while at his place, accidentally found the lipstick Xiao had dropped under the cabinet. It was the same kind Xiao had gifted her before, and she immediately realized Xiao had been here, confirming that something was definitely going on between them. After that, Xiao's other predictions also came true. Li Xiao, and he went to test drive the client's new promotional car, a scene that perfectly matched the second future Xiao had seen. Later, Lai continued pestering Xiao, and when she angrily tried to leave, she stumbled, and he quickly caught her, fulfilling the third prediction. That night, he approached Xiao knowing she was struggling with the vision of them ending up in bed. To help her stop overthinking, he offered a solution. Why not just get it over with tonight and complete the future? Xiao was instantly tempted. And just as he was about to lay out his conditions, Yingzi suddenly showed up, forcing him to send her away first. In the elevator, before Yingzi repeatedly warned him that her secret was something most people couldn't accept, and told him not to waste his time on another woman. Because of her interference, he lost his mood, and the plans between him and Xiao were temporarily delayed. Back home, Xiao talked to Mei about the sudden shift in his behavior, and Mei confidently said he must be a seasoned player in love, probably the type who'd suggest intense role-playing when things heated up with Xiao. The thought of cold-faced him engaging in full-on, pixel-blurred passion scenes made Xiao blush uncontrollably. Soon after, his advances became more direct. He invited Xiao over for what was supposed to be a decisive moment, but forced romance doesn't work, and the atmosphere between them was so awkward they ended up dropping the idea altogether. Then he came up with a new theory. In Xiao's vision of the future, both of them had been drinking. Maybe things happened because of drunken impulse, but he insisted that he had good self-control when drunk and would never do something so intimate with a woman he didn't like. So if they were to sleep together properly, they should start by dating. The next day, Xiao thought it over, but eventually rejected him. He frustrated argued that they were both single. Why couldn't they just go with the flow? Stubborn Xiao shot back demanding how he could prove he was single. And he replied, "People like us who work so late we sleep at the office, do we even have time not to be single?" Just then, Li called Xiao to complain about the budget issues with the ad shoot. To prove she wasn't some lonely, unwanted single dog, Xiao threw out a fierce retort that shut both men up and agreed to Li's request for 3 dates. Lai, who had been furious about work a second ago, now floated in a lovesick daze, already daydreaming about a date that was still far off. Annoyed, he backed out of the emotional chaos and went to visit Yingzi's father, Mr. Ying. He had long suffered from hypersensitivity. His vision and hearing were too sharp, which often overwhelmed his nervous system and triggered various symptoms. But after getting physically close with Xiao, many of those symptoms mysteriously disappeared. Just as they were discussing this, Yingzi came home. She started clinging to him again, and though he tried to leave, he paused twice when she mentioned Xiao. Yingzi didn't need a sixth sense to know that the man she liked already had someone else in his heart. That night, Lai introduced his girlfriend Mei to him. As they chatted, they discovered they both had close ties to Xiao, and they couldn't help but sigh at how fate had tangled them up. When Lai and Mei left, they were hit by a brutal emotional blow. Their one-week romance was up, and Mei firmly broke up with him. Having fallen in love, Lai was heartbroken. He clung to a tiny hope that Mei hadn't meant it, but love can be healing for some and painful for others. Meanwhile, Xiao went on a recording studio date with Lei. During this time, the real reason for their past breakup finally resurfaced. Xiao had seen a future where Lai cheated on her with a female senior, and since her visions never changed, she lost faith and ended the relationship early. Even though Lai now desperately wanted to get back together, Xiao never told him about her supernatural power. She didn't want to open that door again and hurt herself more. Just as that storm was settling, another hit. On her way home, Xiao ran into a thief in the dark. Luckily, he arrived just in time and scared the thief off, even holding Xiao protectively afterward. Seeing her home in chaos, he decided to take her to the office for the night. On the road, reckless drivers forced them to stop suddenly, and the surprise moment reminded Xiao of the vision she had after kissing him, a future where she was kissing him in various settings, always smiling, always intimate, clearly not just a one-time drunken mistake. The more she thought about it, the more confused she became. Her brain felt ready to explode. But the next day, it was Lai's turn to explode. He was shocked to find that Mei had shown up as the newest intern at the hospital. Gone was the flirty party girl from the bar. Now she was a quiet, brilliant student, acing every subject like a top-tier scholar. She kept pretending not to know him, and heartbroken Lai tried asking her in private why she had broken up so casually. Her answer was cryptic. He was just another name on her weekly hospital checklist. Lai missed the hospital part and assumed she had played him, making the heartbreak even worse. Meanwhile, trouble hit Xiao again. Photos from Li's car shoot mysteriously leaked. Though they were quickly taken down and barely seen by anyone, the car brand client was furious. Lai was removed from the project and transferred from Group 1 to Group 2. The internal reshuffling made everyone in the office paranoid. Whoever leaked the photos had deleted them right away, but still managed to get a screenshot to the client, which seemed less like an accident and more like someone targeting him. It was obvious the jealous middle managers who'd been overshadowed by him had the biggest motive, but he didn't take it personally. As a professional, he followed company orders and punished Xiao per protocol. Yet, after hours, it was like he became a whole different person, regaining his memory and going out of his way to be good to Xiao again. He helped record Xiao's statement for the police, using his sharp memory and logic to provide tons of useful info about the thief. Then he rushed over to Xiao's place to install cameras and security bars. Seeing all this, Xiao couldn't hold back anymore and finally asked the big question, "Do you like me?" He calmly admitted it and then panicked and ran away. Xiao chased after him, demanding a proper answer. Cornered, he finally confessed that he'd liked her for a long time, just hadn't realized it until now. Mustering his courage, he was about to ask for her reply when Lai suddenly showed up and ruined everything with a surprise kiss. The tension exploded as both men, neither of whom could hold their liquor, ended up in a drinking contest that left them both wrecked. Xiao called one of Li's co-workers to take him home and tried to call Lai to help send him back, but couldn't reach him. Left with no choice, she dragged him back to her own place. Watching him snore away peacefully, Xiao started talking to herself, admitting that in all her past relationships, she had never once seen a vision where she was happy except with him. After the kiss, he saw a glimpse of their future, the two of them gently kissing with joyful smiles on their faces. And at that moment, he suddenly opened his eyes and, pretending he'd been asleep, asked, "Are we really happy in the future?" Startled, Xiao nervously replied that he wasn't quite sure. Maybe he had remembered the drunken vision incorrectly. Then he suggested Xiao kiss him again to confirm the future. Xiao muttered, "I've never heard such an unreasonable request," but then suddenly leaned in for another intense kiss. And in that moment, she saw every version of his future, this life, the next life, and even across 3 lifetimes and 10 miles of peach blossoms. This time, the future she saw was even more beautiful and filled with happiness, so much so that she couldn't stop and leaned in even more. The long kiss left him nearly oxygen deprived, and a flustered Xiao, without explaining what she had seen, tried to sneak away. But he wasn't having it and chased after her. demanding to know what she had just seen. After a pause, Xiao looked at him seriously and asked, "Should we start dating?" A relationship. He, though slightly disappointed that the decision came from a mystical vision rather than mutual affection, still agreed. The reason was simple. He liked her. Falling in love again changed Xiao's entire work life. She spent every day waiting for his messages and phone calls, even getting upset if he texted her too late, not realizing that she was already completely swept up in being a smitten girlfriend. One night, he took Xiao out for dinner and she laid down 3 rules: no public couple behavior, no prying into each other's secrets, and no unauthorized intimacy. He was okay with most of them, but when he read the last clause that once they slept together, the relationship would automatically end, he was annoyed, especially since he was dreaming of growing old together. At that moment, Yingzi happened to pass by. Xiao tried to lie, saying she was dining with him and a client, but he outright admitted that they were dating. As they left, Yingzi chased after him in disbelief and demanded, "Did you tell her your secret? Who else but me could accept the real you?" He didn't answer, instead silently escorting Xiao home. Burning with curiosity, Xiao tried to ask about the secret, but he simply waved the contract at her and refused to explain, leaving her no choice but to obey. Later, after teasing Xiao a little, he shared part of his past. He and Yingzi had known each other since childhood, and he always saw her as a younger sister. Xiao finally believed him after seeing an old childhood photo of the two. As they said goodbye, he suddenly asked, "Your place got broken into recently. Should I stay with you tonight?" Xiao turned bright red and darted into the house, never expecting her normally stern boss to become so aggressive once they started dating. At home, Xiao started to realize why Yingzi looked so familiar. After thinking hard, it hit her. Back when her director father filmed car ads, he had cast a child actress, and that girl had been Yingzi. She never imagined fate would reunite them years later. Meanwhile, he returned home and confided in Lai about his relationship. Lai encouraged him to reveal his hypersensitive senses to Xiao. He thought about how he could hear Xiao whispering from 100 meters away, and even identify where she had been and who she had met just by her scent, but worried it might scare her. He kept it a secret. The next day, just when the company had a moment of peace, another issue arose. The client wasn't satisfied with Lai's proposal, saying it was too artsy and not marketable enough. Lai had revised it over and over, completely burnt out. When Xiao heard the news, she swooped in like a savior, first comforting Lai, then presenting a case study from a similar campaign by a brand using Yingzi and Xiao. Lai, inspired by Xiao's insights, especially about refining Yingzi's character concept, came up with a new proposal that even the notoriously hard-to-please him thought had potential. After the meeting, he sought out Xiao, slightly jealous of her helping Li. Xiao, half amused, half exasperated, asked him why he hadn't confessed earlier if he liked her so much. With a sigh, he began to explain those frustrating years. From the very first day Xiao joined the recording team, she had branded herself as not single, giving him no chance. When she finally broke up, she was too heartbroken to consider love again, focusing only on work. Every time he tried to confess, some strange twist would block his way. Xiao, embarrassed after learning the truth, listened as he dropped all pretense. He declared that he had no intention of honoring the contract's limitations. If he wanted to kiss, he'd kiss. If he wanted to sleep with her, he would. Whatever couples did, he planned to do all of it. After making his bold declaration and walking off, Xiao whispered to herself with a shy smile, "Oh no, I think I'm falling for him." Meanwhile, he was walking down the street with a sweet grin. Soon after, Yingzi showed up again, stubbornly clinging to him. He gently but firmly explained that ever since kissing Xiao, the condition that made him faint from kissing others had mysteriously disappeared, a sign that Xiao was truly the one. His resolute tone left Yingzi in stunned silence. On the other side, Xiao had recently been troubled by a recurring dream where she was falling into water. Just then, her mother, who had been traveling, dropped by to visit. Xiao asked if she had ever had a drowning incident as a child. Her mom's face changed slightly and quickly brushed it off, saying Xiao was probably just exhausted, and that's why she was having strange dreams. But it was clear she was hiding something. The scene shifted as Li's latest proposal finally got approved by the client's senior executive. Coincidentally, this executive had worked on an ad with Xiao's father years ago and had fond memories of him. When he revealed the connection between Xiao and the executive, the client gave special approval for Xiao to rejoin the project team. Though she was happy, trouble soon followed. Lai accidentally discovered Xiao and his relationship contract and realized they were dating. Consumed with jealousy, he stormed up to Xiao and angrily asked her what kind of future she had seen that made her choose him. Lai had already deduced that Xiao could see the future through kissing, reasoning that every time she kissed someone, she would cry afterward, as if she just learned something heartbreaking and then decisively end the relationship. Now, All he wanted was to know exactly what kind of future Xiao had seen that made her abandon him and choose him instead. After hesitating again and again, Xiao finally revealed that she had seen a future where Li cheated on her with a female senior colleague. But Xiao never expected that the very next day, reality would slap her hard. He, seeing Xiao still stressed while working overtime at the office, used the excuse of a delivery to take her out for a breather. Thanks to his extraordinary vision, he could identify distant vehicles from a high vantage point. He was so relaxed while chatting with Xiao that he almost slipped and mentioned his superhuman sensory abilities. With confidence, he learned from Xiao that her bad mood was caused by Li discovering their relationship. Comforting her, he confidently assured her that while her past breakup came from a tragic future she saw, this time he was sure things would be different, swearing that he would give her a happy ending. That night, he treated Xiao to a fancy meal, savoring his long-overdue romance. Next day, Li asked Xiao to meet under the pretense of work, and what followed left her utterly speechless. The female senior she had once seen in her vision as Li's cheating partner was now happily married with children. When Xiao spoke to her privately, she unexpectedly learned that after Xiao and Li broke up, the senior, who had secretly liked Li, tried to kiss him and confess her love, only to be rejected. While he stepped away to park the car, Yingzi took the chance to make their relationship sound suspiciously close over the phone. She also hinted that he had told her about Xiao's special ability, making Xiao believe he'd betrayed her secret, but Yingzi had misunderstood. She wasn't talking about Xiao's ability to see the future, but her ability to heal him through kissing. This planted the seed for an upcoming argument. The next day, a video of Li trying to win Xiao back was uploaded online. Their argument had been so loud, bystanders had recorded it. When he saw the video, his jealousy erupted and he fought with Xiao. She fired back, saying he wasn't any better, being entangled with Yingzi and exposing her secret. He was speechless after learning that Yingzi had answered his call. He couldn't explain without revealing his super senses, so he had to let Xiao continue to misunderstand him. After that, Xiao began avoiding him, ignoring all his texts and apologies. Soon, Xiao, him, and Li traveled together to Guju Island for an ad shoot. This time, there was no escape. First, Li approached Xiao to talk about their second date, while he watched silently from the balcony. Then, something strange happened. Xiao's aunt called to ask if she had taken an old photo from home, but Xiao was confused. She'd only come for the shoot and hadn't taken any photo of her father. At the same time, he received a call from the police. The serial burglar near Xiao's neighborhood had been caught, but claimed he'd never been to her house. When he asked about the man's height, he realized it didn't match the person he had fought in the dark, meaning whoever broke in wasn't a thief, but someone targeting Xiao. Unfortunately, before he could warn her, he ran into Yingzi, who was still pestering him. When he told her to stop bothering Xiao, Yingzi, in a desperate move to prove she was his destined woman, forcefully kissed him, hoping to relieve his symptoms. Instead, she triggered them severely, and Xiao walked in on the scene. Furious and heartbroken, she stormed off. He chased after her trying to explain, but one thing led to another and they ended up fighting. Xiao accused him of being involved with Yingzi. He countered saying she must still have feelings for Li. Xiao then proposed rethinking their entire relationship, and the two parted on bad terms. Meanwhile, his condition worsened. He returned to his room hoping sleep would help. But late that night, using his heightened senses, he realized Xiao hadn't returned to the hotel after quitting her job. Sensing something was wrong and fearing someone was after her, he rushed out to search. At that moment, a mysterious figure was quickly approaching Xiao. At last time, he sensed that someone shady was targeting Xiao, so he ran out at night to find her. Because of him, the stalker hiding in the dark fled, and Xiao never even realized she was in danger. Afterward, he suffered severe symptoms from being kissed by Yingzi, so Xiao helped him back to his room. With medication and by holding Xiao's hand, he finally stabilized. It was only then that Xiao learned about his rare condition. Every kiss made him dizzy and sick, but only Xiao's presence relieved the symptoms. Yingzi had kissed him to try proving she could heal him too, but she had nearly killed him instead. Upon realizing she had misunderstood him, Xiao was filled with guilt. When he gently asked if she still had feelings for Li, Xiao finally admitted the truth. She didn't. She'd just been too unsure how to reject him and caused all the confusion. The moment she finished, he, physically drained, collapsed asleep on her shoulder. The next morning, he called the police and reported the stalker who had followed Xiao the night before. Even though the license plate had been covered, he, with his superhuman memory and vision, described the car in perfect detail. Afterward, the two returned to the ad shoot and got back to work. But he unexpectedly picked up on something unusual with his hypersensitive hearing. Someone kept snapping their fingers nearby. Following the sound, he spotted a man wearing a mask who looked exactly like the person that had been stalking Xiao. Unfortunately, the man was extremely cautious, and by the time he pushed through the crowd, the masked man had already vanished. The strange incident distracted him just enough to cause a few mishaps on set, especially with the close-up shots that didn't involve faces. At the last minute, Xiao was asked to step in. Once she changed into costume, she immediately drew everyone's attention, especially him and Li, both unable to take their eyes off her. During the shoot, a small moment made Xiao begin to suspect he had some kind of special ability. He had predicted a situation moments before it happened. He had heard a police siren from far away and warned everyone to start clearing the site. And sure enough, 3 minutes later, police cars rolled up. After the shoot, Xiao looked at him and thought back to the many times he had seemingly predicted things. Before their flight, she purposely tried to hide, but he still found her easily. Confronted, he finally confessed to his extraordinary sensory abilities. His hearing, sight, and other senses were all far sharper than normal, and when he kissed someone, they intensified even more. Xiao, having her own strange power, understood immediately and accepted him without hesitation. On the other side, Yingzi broke down in tears at Lai's place, mourning her loss but ultimately feeling happy that he could be healed by someone who loved him. Calmly, she tried to matchmake Lai and Mei by pretending to flirt with Lai, but Mei wasn't jealous at all. She just turned and left. And so, poor Lai found himself heartbroken like Yingzi. Later, Xiao returned home only to find her father's photo missing. Her aunt said nothing, but when she was alone, her expression turned grave. Clearly, she knew something. Meanwhile, he was online reading articles about the mysterious death of Xiao's father. He died the same night a case of superblood occurred, and the suspect's body had been found 6 months later. All nearby surveillance had vanished, and the police concluded the suspect had committed suicide. The unanswered questions around that night left him extremely uneasy, worried that more misfortune might be coming for Xiao. From that day on, he began picking Xiao up for work every morning. Xiao, not knowing the real reason for his concern, just thought he had become a lovesick boyfriend. She kept reminding him to keep their office romance a secret to avoid gossip. So the two became even more businesslike than usual, putting on such fierce professional airs that they scared their coworkers. While Xiao's work life was calm, her emotional life kept getting tossed around. Director Li continued hinting about their past relationship in interviews, making Xiao feel complicated. After work, he saw her staring into space and comforted her in his own way, telling her that no matter what kind of future she might see, he wouldn't break up with her. He believed they could change fate, and his words gave her the courage to face Li. The next day, he met with Yingzi's father and talked about his condition. During the conversation, he mentioned something important, that when he and Xiao were younger and studying art together, Xiao's family had suddenly left for overseas after an incident. Her mother had once said, when someone forgets something from childhood, it usually hides painful memories. That night, Xiao watched the film Lai made based on their past love, and afterward told Lai honestly that she didn't want to relive a tragic ending. This time, she would choose to stay with him to the end. Lai had nothing left to say. He had already done all he could. Later that night, Xiao tore up her relationship contract with him. Their love no longer needed paperwork to define it, and what followed was a scene so steamy it couldn't be shown on screen. The next morning, Xiao woke up both bashful and blissful. Bashful because of the previous night's passion, and happy because he, who didn't even know how to cook, was in the kitchen making breakfast. Pot after pot of burnt, inedible, dark cuisine. But sometimes it's not about the food. It's the effort that counts. Still, their romance had one hilarious downside. Xiao couldn't stand staying at his place for too long. Even when things were getting steamy, every time things were about to get heated again, she would run home clutching her stomach. Not from nerves, but because she really had to poop and was scared his super hearing would pick up the whole thing. On the bright side, his abilities had their perks. Once Xiao realized she had become completely obsessed with him, she created an elaborate office secret romance plan. She'd whisper a time and place just loud enough for him to hear, and they'd sneak off during the day to secretly meet. Since he felt sick when kissed on the lips, Xiao would kiss him everywhere else like a frantic little woodpecker. Sometimes they were gone for 2 whole hours. And while I, a single viewer, don't know exactly what 2 crazy and in-love adults can do in 2 hours, feel free to imagine it or check the comment section for the love experts. The scene shifted again as Xiao's artist mother hosted an art exhibit. When Xiao brought him to the venue, he was clearly surprised. And during a private conversation, more of the past came to light. Back then, when something happened between their families and he ended up hospitalized, Xiao's mother took her overseas. Now, learning that he had hidden that painful past just to protect Xiao made her mother admire him even more. Just then, an unexpected twist occurred. Xiao's mom received a package from the gallery staff, and inside were several creepy portraits of herself. Frightened, she rushed out to find who sent them, unaware that a mysterious figure was watching her from the shadows. After a few tense moments, the story took a funny turn. Xiao, deeply longing for the romantic future she had once seen, leaned into his ear and began describing in vivid detail every steamy part of that short-sleeved, nosebleed-worthy vision. She described her vivid fantasy future in such scorching detail that he nearly combusted on the spot. That night, he was so flustered he couldn't sleep and ended up calling Xiao. The two agreed that they would one day reenact the wild night Xiao had seen in her vision, complete with the same clothes. But life had other plans. Work suddenly entered a crunch phase and they both got swamped with other things. Unwilling to give up, they wore the same matching outfits for a week straight, hoping the stars would finally align, but still couldn't recreate the steamy moment she had foreseen. Just when the car commercial project finally wrapped and they thought, tonight's the night, their co-workers pulled them into a last-minute team bonding dinner since the leftover budget still needed to be spent. Of course, this turned into a round of spicy truth or dare, where every question circled back to love, forcing Xiao, Li, and him to drink round after round. Everyone they were emotionally entangled with was sitting at that very table, and yet no one could say what they truly felt. After a few rounds, Lai was the first to slip away. Xiao followed him outside, thanking him for keeping a respectful distance recently, and acknowledging that whatever feelings they had, they should end properly now. It stung like getting handed a good guy card. Then, in a screenwriter-worthy twist, Li ended up asking Yingzi out instead. They were both reeling from love and seemed to connect effortlessly, as if the writers had plans to pair them up next. Meanwhile, after walking Li back, Xiao returned to the table and learned that whenever the topic of first love came up, he would get emotional and drink heavily. He was already tipsy. Jealousy pricked at Xiao. Things got worse when he accidentally sent a message meant for Xiao into the department group chat. Though he didn't name names, the tone and content made it painfully clear the message was intended for a certain nearby woman. Everyone in the group instantly exploded with speculation. Embarrassed, Xiao pulled him outside for air, where she cautiously asked about his first love. From the way he responded, it was clear Xiao had always been his first. Drunk and fearless, he started spilling all his feelings for her. Then, despite knowing it would make him dizzy, leaned in and kissed her hard. That kiss lit the match. The burning night Xiao had once seen in a fragmented vision finally arrived in full, and this time the future Xiao had foreseen finally came true. After countless trials, she and he had unlocked the achievement of jumping the happy weight loss dance together, so to speak. They danced all night, and the next morning woke up utterly exhausted but completely content. He leaned in and gave her a sweet good morning kiss, but Xiao's face changed instantly. In that kiss, she saw a terrible vision. Him, badly injured, lying unconscious in a hospital, his life hanging by a thread. He noticed her strange reaction, but no matter how much he pressed, Xiao refused to tell him what she saw. Just then, a call came. Xiao rushed to the hospital. Her mother's boyfriend had been in an accident and the perpetrator had fled the scene. The only good news: the surgery was a success and his injuries weren't fatal. But at the same time, he received a message from Xiao's mom. Photos of the boyfriend being secretly stalked had surfaced, and she confided in him that someone had sent those images before the accident. She believed the person who sent them was the culprit, and even more chilling, it was someone both she and he had once known. Worried that Xiao might remember something related to the murderer, she begged him to take care of her and keep everything a secret for now. Respecting her wishes, he arranged a leave of absence for Xiao and planned to stay with her after work. That night at the hospital, Xiao ran into Dragon, the familiar bar owner, who was apparently there for a checkup. After their brief encounter, he gave Xiao a strange, lingering look. It wasn't long before he called Xiao's mom. And yes, he was the very person she and he had talked about, the real killer. His mind had long since gone twisted. He called Xiao's mother wife and referred to Xiao as his daughter. Xiao happened to overhear part of a strange conversation. Her mom claimed the recent accidents were caused by a college rival holding a grudge. She insisted Xiao should stay at his place for now, but Xiao sensed something was off about her mom. At his house, however, she had no time to worry. She was immediately distracted by the painful vision she had seen. Under his questioning, she finally admitted that she had seen him getting severely injured. It looked like he was trying to save her. When he heard this, he clung to one critical detail. The scene was near an orphanage. Coincidentally, he had been attending charity events there for years, so it wasn't entirely unfamiliar. He immediately began helping the police search through surveillance footage using his enhanced senses, and they were just one step away from discovering the killer's identity. But fate beat them to it. Afraid of putting him in danger, Xiao decided to leave the country. If she wasn't in Korea, the future would change, and he wouldn't get hurt. Her plan was to return once everything had settled. But just before she could leave, Dragon found her and abducted her. What followed was a flashback revealing everything. Dragon, Xiao's father, and her mother were college classmates. He had always been obsessed with her mother, but she married Xiao's dad instead. That jealousy festered until one day, in a fit of rage, Dragon. As Xiao listened to him retelling those twisted, distorted memories, she realized this man was dangerously delusional. Pretending to play along, she called him dad and smiled sweetly, tricking him just long enough to escape. But the chase began. She ran. He pursued all the way to the frozen lake she had seen in her vision. The ice couldn't hold her weight and cracked open. Xiao plunged into the freezing water. Luckily, following the clues she'd left behind, he arrived in time. He dove into the lake and pulled her up, using mouth-to-mouth to keep her breathing. But just as she regained consciousness, Dragon launched another attack, seriously injuring him. Xiao was thrown into despair until the police and rescue team finally arrived. The murderer, Dragon, who had lived under a fake name for years, was arrested. He was rushed to the hospital. Outside the operating room, Xiao waited anxiously. And in the haze of this chaos, something deep inside her stirred. A long-lost memory began to return. Back when Xiao got lost on the street, it was he who kindly helped her search from day to night until they finally found her home. From that day forward, he became close friends with Xiao's family. Whenever Xiao saw him getting bullied, she would rush in fearlessly to defend him, even getting into fights. Meanwhile, he studied painting with Xiao's aunt. If everything had stayed peaceful, these childhood sweethearts probably would have fallen in love as teenagers. But then Dragon showed up and shattered that fragile calm. One day, when he was walking Xiao home, they accidentally ran into Dragon right after he had just committed a murder. To protect Xiao, he had no choice but to lure Dragon away on his own. Tragically, by the time he came back, Xiao had accidentally fallen into the water. Without hesitation, he jumped in to save her. That same night, a rare, snowy supermoon appeared in the sky, and perhaps because of that natural phenomenon, after he gave Xiao mouth-to-mouth, both of them mysteriously gained supernatural abilities. Now back in the present, Xiao felt deep guilt toward him, especially while he lay unconscious in the hospital. Thankfully, the writers didn't torment the couple for too long. He eventually woke up, but then came the devastating news. He had lost his memory. Xiao broke down, frantically reminding him of all their sweet moments together, but it turned out he was just teasing her. It was all an act. After the scare passed, they were hit with an even bigger surprise. The moment they kissed again, all their supernatural powers vanished. They believed it happened because Dragon had finally been arrested, and Xiao had recovered her memories. The mission from fate was complete, so the powers were taken back too. At last, they no longer had to worry about strange abilities getting in the way. Now, they could kiss freely whenever they wanted, and when they didn't feel like kissing, well, there were plenty of naughty nighttime activities they could explore instead. In the end, the scriptwriter decided to sprinkle in some bonus sweetness. Yingzi, who was finally touched by Lai's sincerity, gave up her reckless ways and began a long-term romance with him. Through their ad work together, their mutual heartbreaks, their drunken rants about Xiao, and how she and Li grew close too. At one public event, she boldly confessed to him, and they officially became a couple. And of course, we have to return to our beloved main couple. Without their powers, he was no longer so sharp and precise, and Xiao's future visions often turned out wrong. In their relationship, they sometimes fought, sometimes laughed, and sometimes reminisced about the past with a bittersweet feeling. Grateful for the journey, yet a little emotional about it. Finally, they began living the life of an ordinary couple, enjoying their own little slice of love. And with that, this beautiful story comes to a close.